Welcome back to the Exam Room Nutrition Podcast. I'm Colleen, a PA, dietitian, and your nutrition mentor. I hope you've been enjoying these shorty episodes in our mini-series called Deficiency Detectives. Last week and this week, I'm dropping an episode every Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday in which you're presented with a curious case, and your job is to guess which nutrient deficiency might be causing our patient's symptoms. Now, here's what makes it fun. You can submit your guess online and receive instant feedback from me. In episode 85, you are presented with case number 3. We met Fred, a 52-year-old recovering alcoholic with fatigue, disorientation, and swelling in his legs. And I'm about to reveal the answer. Now, if you submitted your guess online, you should have received an email from me and you're officially in the running for an amazing prize: 1 year of complimentary access to Nutrition Grand Rounds. This monthly virtual workshop launches in January, and it's packed with expert nutrition presentations you won't want to miss. But if today is your first day joining us, no worries, you're not behind. Each episode stands alone, and there's still plenty of time to get involved. After going over yesterday's case, at the end of this episode, I'll present a new case for you to solve. All right, detectives, it's time to reveal the answer to yesterday's mystery. So what was Fred's deficiency? If you guessed thiamine, you're right. Thiamine is one of the water-soluble B vitamins, also known as vitamin B1, because it was the first B vitamin to be discovered. Since it's water-soluble, our bodies do not store it, and depletion can occur within 2 to 3 weeks of inadequate intake. Thiamine also has a short half-life, so people require a continuous supply of it from the diet. It's critical for energy production and nervous system function. It acts as a coenzyme in several metabolic processes, including the breakdown of carbohydrates, fats, and proteins, and enables the production of energy within the mitochondria. Thiamine also plays a vital role in cellular respiration and the oxidation of fatty acids, processes integral to maintaining metabolic balance. Additionally, thiamine supports the nervous system by participating in neurotransmitter synthesis, which is essential for proper central and peripheral nervous system function. So without adequate thiamine, both energy production and neurological processes are impaired, leading to symptoms ranging from fatigue and irritability to more severe disorders like beriberi or Wernicke-Korsakoff syndrome. While a deficiency is rare in developed countries, it is possible in certain populations and can result in severe neurological and cardiovascular complications when it does occur. So how much thiamine do we need? So adult men need 1.2 milligrams per day, adult women 1.1 milligrams per day, and those who are pregnant or breastfeeding need 1.4 milligrams per day. Now, most Americans meet these recommendations thanks to fortified foods and a varied diet. Food sources of thiamine include whole grains, meat and fish, breads, cereals, and infant formulas in the United States, and many other countries are fortified with thiamine. So many foods do provide thiamine, but some are nutritional superstars, like fortified breakfast cereals. One serving contains 1.2 milligrams, which is 100% of your daily value. Enriched egg noodles contain 0.5 milligrams, or about 42% of the daily value. And pork chops, trout, and black beans each come in at 0.4 milligrams, which is about a third of your daily value. Now, here's a fun fact. Heat, water, and food processing significantly reduce thiamine content. For example, white rice contains only 1/10 the thiamine of brown rice unless it's enriched. Because thiamine dissolves in water, a significant amount of the vitamin is lost when cooking water is thrown away. So, what are the symptoms of thiamine deficiency? It can manifest in various vague ways, from mild neurological issues to life-threatening syndromes. Some early symptoms include unintentional weight loss, confusion, memory problems, muscle weakness, and cardiovascular symptoms. A few deficiency syndromes include beriberi, which affects the nervous and cardiovascular systems, causing peripheral neuropathy, muscle wasting, or heart failure. Now, if you remember from school, there are 2 types of beriberi. The first one is dry beriberi, which refers to peripheral neurological deficits, which are bilateral and roughly symmetric, occurring in a stocking glove distribution. Now, that isn't a board exam question. I don't know what is. These deficits affect predominantly the lower extremities, beginning with paresthesias in the toes, burning in the feet, which is usually very severe at night, and muscle cramps in the calves. Calf muscle tenderness, difficulty rising from a squatting position, and decreased vibratory sensation in the toes are early signs. So be sure to do a thorough physical exam. Now, wet beriberi, is known as cardiovascular beriberi, is a myocardial disease due to thiamine deficiency. And the first effects are vasodilation, tachycardia, a wide pulse pressure, sweating, warm skin, and lactic acidosis. Later on, heart failure can develop, causing orthopnea and pulmonary and peripheral edema. Vasodilation can occur, and sometimes this results in shock. Another syndrome associated with thiamine deficiency is Wernicke-Korsakoff syndrome, and it's often linked to chronic alcoholism. It's actually a two-phase disorder that begins with acute Wernicke's encephalopathy and can progress to Korsakoff's psychosis, which is marked by severe memory loss and disorientation. So Wernicke encephalopathy causes confusion, apathy, difficulty walking, and eye problems, including nystagmus and partial paralysis of the eye muscles. If Wernicke encephalopathy is not promptly treated, symptoms worsen, resulting in coma and even death. Now, Korsakoff psychosis causes memory loss for recent events, confusion, and a tendency to make up facts to fill in the gaps in memory. This is known as confabulation. Now, what are some of the risk factors for deficiency? As I said earlier, thiamine deficiency is rare in the United States, but it can be common in specific populations. It can be related to poor intake, especially if the patient's diet is primarily high in polished rice or processed grains, because processing removes almost all of the thiamine. As with our patient Fred, chronic alcoholism is a big risk factor for deficiency, and up to 80% of those with alcohol dependence have thiamine deficiency due to reduced absorption and storage. Also, people who consume excessive amounts of alcohol often substitute alcohol for food and thus do not consume enough thiamine. Individuals on parenteral nutrition without adequate thiamine supplementation are at risk, and patients with a history of gastric bypass surgery if they are not properly taking their vitamins, which again, our patient Fred was not being consistent with his vitamin intake. Patients can also develop thiamine deficiency when they have an increased loss in thiamine from diarrhea, vomiting, or diuretic use. Also, patients may have increased thiamine needs seen during pregnancy, lactation, hyperthyroidism, refeeding syndrome, or patients with severe anorexia nervosa. Also consider certain medications. Now, thiamine itself doesn't interact directly with medications, but certain drugs can reduce its levels. So be on the lookout for patients who are on any diuretics, especially Lasix, because this can increase thiamine excretion. Digoxin actually interferes with thiamine utilization, and phenytoin or dilantin can reduce thiamine absorption. A few other medications to be aware of include metformin, penicillin, sertraline, verapamil, quinapril, and amitriptyline. So if any of your patients are on any of those medications, it's important to monitor their thiamine levels. So how do you treat thiamine deficiency? Now, if the patient just has a mild deficiency, you can give them 10 milligrams orally per day for 1 week, then 3 to 5 milligrams daily for at least 6 weeks. For those with severe deficiency, anyone who has Wernicke's encephalopathy, patients need to be treated with IV thiamine followed by oral supplementation. Now, this is super important for those of you who work in hospital medicine. Because IV glucose can worsen thiamine deficiency, people with alcohol use disorder and others at risk of thiamine deficiency should receive IV thiamine 100 milligrams before receiving any IV glucose solutions. Giving them thiamine supplements first can prevent Wernicke-Korsakoff syndrome from developing or from worsening. So the next time your patient has vague symptoms, consider a nutritional evaluation as part of your physical workup. Check their vitamin and mineral status, and you might just diagnose a vitamin deficiency and look like a genius. All right, detectives, are you ready for your next case? Let's meet Josh. He's a bright and energetic 12-year-old who has been living with cystic fibrosis since infancy. Despite being under the care of a dedicated medical team, Josh's parents have noticed some concerning changes in his health over the past few months. Josh has been struggling with increasing muscle weakness that has made it difficult for him to keep up with his friends during recess. His teachers report that he's having trouble with balance, often stumbling or losing coordination while walking. And on a recent family trip, Josh said he felt weird vibrations in his feet while standing on gravel. Josh also seems to have some trouble with his eyes. His mom noticed a slight drooping of his right eyelid and that he occasionally complains about his vision feeling off, especially when focusing on objects close up. At his most recent visit with a PA, physical exams showed absent deep tendon reflexes in his lower extremities, reduced vibration and position sense in his feet, mild truncal ataxia, which made it difficult for Josh to stand steadily without swaying, and a subtle dysarthria, which his parents just mistook for tiredness. Now, he is a selective eater and he dislikes taking any of his vitamins. He also struggles to remember to take his pancreatic enzymes. So, what nutrient deficiency could be causing Josh's symptoms? Now you can head on over to examroomnutrition.com/Josh to cast your vote and win a chance for free access to the Nutrition Grand Rounds. That's examroomnutrition.com/Josh, JOSH, and I will link to that site down below to make it super simple for you. Now I'll send you the answer immediately, but otherwise if you don't want to play, tune into the next episode of Deficiency Detective for the answer and actionable insights to help patients just like Josh. I'll see you next time, detectives.